set. If this doesn't bookend with that, it will be a failure. I'm concerned you're setting yourselves up for disappointment. But I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy to be here in New York City. At the Beacon Theater, and this is actually the middle of my tour. And I've come to really love being on the road, especially now. You know, just one, because I really love connecting with audiences, you know, now more than ever. And two, because I've really become a real hotel slut. I just love when a hotel is really nice. You know how you can tell if a hotel is fancy? If you come back to your room and where you left off in your toilet paper has been folded in a perfect triangle. I mean, there's just, nothing more luxurious than knowing that a stranger's fingers have handled something that you will press to your asshole at some point, for sure. It really is how the other half lives. And I've been with my boyfriend, Rory, for 5 years. I should be able to say his name better, but it's ridiculous. Rory. But you know, it's enough time that we do things to jazz things up a little, like lately I've taken to jerking him off with my non-dominant hand. Which is great, you know, because it feels like someone else is doing it. I was actually a little bit proud of myself when I thought of that joke, and Rory was sleeping next to me, and I woke him up and told it to him. He goes, yeah, that's good. You know what we call that? The stranger. Everybody knows but me. I had never heard that before. And you know, it's just crazy because I always feel like women in general are more familiar with the experience of a man. We need to see the world through a male lens in order to just survive. Men don't need to do that. But yeah, this one got by me. The stranger. I love it. He goes, yeah, like, I'll use my left hand, or sometimes I'll sit on my hand to numb it up a little. Swoon. And I think this is normal, like, we'll do things with sex, like we'll start talking fantasy talk sometimes during sex, like, one time we were fooling around, and this just came out of my mouth. I didn't plan it, and I go, you just showed up at my summer camp. And even he was like, ugh. But he saved it. He goes, but you like own the camp, right? I go, yeah, yes. I own the camp, yes. Another time I was on top of him. What do I go, side to side? Whatever, the position doesn't even matter, but we were doing it. And then he's like, this is so crazy, like I don't even know your last name. And, you know, I'm playing along and I said, it's Hitler. And he came immediately, which was a little disconcerting. Right here, right between my upper lip and my nose bottom. Oh, my dad and my stepmom Janice both died last May, 9 days apart. And, oh, that one needs work. But they really did, and I was really close with both of them. And my dad was my best friend, and they both gave me so much. And most recently, about an hour of new material, so let's do this. Good. All right, Let me introduce the characters involved. First, my dad, Donald Schleppy Silverman. Everybody called him Schleppy. Born in Boston, then his family moved to... You've heard of it? You're like, I'm from Boston, you're from Quincy. But they moved to New Hampshire, and that's where I was born and raised. And my dad owned a discount women's clothing store called Crazy Sophie's Factory Outlet. And it's funny, when I tell people I'm from New Hampshire, they'll go, there are Jews in New Hampshire? And then I have to explain to them that, you know, even New Hampshire deserves retail. And, you know, he'd do his own radio ads. He'd be like, I'm Crazy Donnie. When I see the prices at the mall, I just want to vomit. And then he'd rattle off a bunch of, like, off-brand brands. And then at the end, he'd go, so if you care enough to buy the very best, but you're too cheap, come to Crazy Sophie's. You know, I think he named it because Crazy Sophie's Factory Outlet, he loved Crazy Eddie from New York, you know, in the 80s, and he wanted to do something like that. And, but he needed it to be a woman's name because it's women's discount clothes. And then, you know, we're Jewish, so he wanted to sneak in like a Jewishy name, so he picked Sophie, Crazy Sophie's Factory Outlet. And my Nana, his mom, was very upset because her best friend back in Boston was Sophie Moskowitz, and she felt that he was calling her crazy. And he explained to her mom, if I named the store after Sophie Moskowitz, I'd call it Ugly Sophie's Factory Outlet. And I thought that story was so funny. So years ago, I told it on a talk show, and I didn't realize at the time that Sophie Moskowitz was still with us. And it caused much source between the families, but I did make absolute sure that she's dead now. So my dad, he called me every Saturday, and I almost never picked up the phone because his messages were gold. And I committed a couple of them to memory. I remember one was around the time when everybody had cell phones, like even in New Hampshire, you know. And he calls me and he goes, guess where I am? The car wash. Can you believe it? I'm talking into this hunk of plastic, and it's bouncing off the sky and down to you, the sky. Yeah. And then he just starts going, oi, oi, oi. His windows were down. And I was listening to him get soaked for several minutes. That is a very specific oi from my dad. I haven't heard it a lot. We went to exactly one movie together when I was younger. And it seemed like the perfect movie by the title, but it really wasn't. It was called Boys Don't Cry. Brilliant film. But don't go see it with your dad. And there's an absolutely brutal sexual assault scene. And during it, the entire theater is silent. And all you can hear is, oi. Oi. The other message I committed to memory was I had moved to Los Angeles, and I was getting jobs like on TV shows and stuff. And he calls me up and he goes, I know you're a real Hollywood hotshot now. Maybe you could find time in your busy schedule to call back the guy who gave you life. And it sounds like he's hanging up, but he gets like a new idea and he goes, I used to lift up your little legs and wipe the shit out of your tuchus. Maybe you can find a minute for me. He really loved getting old. He loved it. He knew he was adorable. He loved what he could get away with. We were at a sandwich shop in LA, and we're eating, and these two huge muscle guys walk over to him and start like threatening him, like, "Grr." And he's laughing and they leave. And I'm like, what was that? He goes, oh, I went to refill my Coke. And then I saw those two big muscle guys. So I walked over there and I go, you know what? I feel like kicking some ass. With his little nubby elbows. He had sacks of water that just hung off of both of his elbows. You know, even the doctor goes, I can drain those.